Greetings, Inquisitor. Welcome to The Rise of Obticeo. This is week 11. I started this account on January 1st, used the Hyperdrive bundle, and I'm updating the account's progress every week, showing you how I'm building teams with the goal of rising as quickly as we can through this new Grand Arena system. Last week we had double drops for several days, so that was helpful, and I really did focus on characters as much as possible. With newer accounts, getting characters built out to 7 stars is a huge priority. In order to participate in a lot of the events, even if you have characters that are good enough to complete the events, they still can't go in until they're 7 stars. With the Hyperdrive bundle, you get a lot of stuff at 5 stars, and you do have to finish those characters out to 7 in order to get into those events. So this was an opportunity to grab up some shards, and you'll see from the account progress today we're going to have a lot of that. We got 5s to Relic level a week early, again with the double drops that helped out a lot. So we're ahead of schedule with him. We're going to take him to Relic 5. We'd love to take him to Relic 7, but again, getting the higher level Relic materials with a account this new is pretty stressful. And it's better just to take them to 5 and keep working on other Relic characters. We'll get to the point where those higher level Relic materials are easier for us to obtain as time goes on. So there we've got 5s. We set him to Relic 5, so 5s at 5. Here we're going to take a couple stars onto Moff Gideon. We got him to 6 stars throughout the event. We could have possibly got him to 7 stars, but we did take some time on the ARC Trooper as well because he's a little bit higher priority. Here we take a star on the Dark Trooper. Only 3 stars so far. We got a long way to go on him, but getting started. Sunfac is still part of the priority team. We have to get the Geos to the point where they're ready for Tambor. That means 16,500 Galactic Power. So we've got Sunfac to gear 11. We're applying pieces to Sunfac here to try to get him to that magic 6.5. Here we're at 16.3. I take a look at the gear that's left and decide that this is better, and he ends up right at 16.513. So that means that we're done with Sunfac and he's ready for the Tambor mission. We need to get into Poggle and apply some more gear to him. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to leave him at gear 11. We're going to apply the more common gear pieces that, let's say, that we can afford easily. And here we're at 16,000. We add another gear piece, 16.2. Thinking about adding this other gear piece, and then I noticed that his leadership skill isn't developed. That also contributes to Galactic Power. So we put that up to level 7, and it's 16,768. So takes us over the 16.5 threshold. Now we just got to check the Brood Alpha. He's 20,000. The Soldier's already at gear 12. He's fine. The Spy's at Relic level. He's fine. So with that, our Geos are all to 16.5. And we're ready to take a crack at this Tambor mission for the upcoming Dark Side Geo territory battle. Now, clones are the next team. They're the first full Relic team that we're going to work on. So Shaak Ti and the clones are going to get as much attention as we can afford. We take a level there on Shaak Ti. We have Rex. Rex is probably going to be our next target for Relics. So we take him up a couple gear tiers and then go take a look at this Echo, get him to 7 stars. So the only one that we need stars on now, of course, is Shaak Ti. We still have to finish that. And we still have to do some work on the ARC Trooper. But we've got the ARC Trooper to 5 stars and almost to 6 stars. So we'll be able to finish him out soon. Captain Phasma. Again, we're trying to use this First Order stuff to unlock BB-8 to 7 stars. Phasma's a shop character, so we finally picked up enough shards out of the shop to get her leveled up. So we go ahead and do that. We're working on some of these other First Order. We're not going to put a bunch of levels and skills on them yet. We're just going to get them their stars. Spend that money getting the stars. And again, in territory battles, the 7-star characters, you may be able to place them to help your guild with the territory battle, things like that. So that's why we're being aggressive about applying all these stars. Going and looking at Dark Trooper, we're going to go ahead and take his level up a little bit more. We decide on level 80. We take him up, and that'll allow us to to gear him up more in the future. Taking a look at other things that we want to put stars on. Here we've got a stormtrooper that went to the 6th star, so that's good. We'll take that. Not sure if I'm going to build an Iden Versio on this team, but we're messing around with it. Chopper gets to 6 stars. Again, it's a character that I'm passively buying out of the shop when I can find it. Resistance Hero Poe goes to 6 stars. R2-D2 can go to 6 stars. So we're getting all kinds of level ups going on here, or let's say promotions to star levels. And now we're kind of looking through to see where we're going to apply gear. So Qui-Gon Jinn will probably be the next Zeta that we apply, and we have an Omicron, so we're probably going to go ahead and Zeta and Omicron Qui-Gon Jinn. So we'll take him up to maximum level. We'll add the skills onto him, get him going, and get him in position where we can add that Zeta and the Omicron when we're ready for that. Probably next week we'll get that going. That'll be like I said, the next Zeta. Cassian Andor, another shop character. We've been able to buy him up to 7 stars, so we finished that out. And we do need those rebels. Remember, we need a bunch of different rebels to 7 stars to get the Emperor Palpatine. That event is pretty easy, so as long as we get any decent rebels to 7 stars, we should be able to finish that event. So we're going to go in there right now and take a look. I should have enough to do the 6th star version of the event. And you can see we've got 3 characters already at 7 stars. We've got 4 other characters that are at 6 stars. So we're closing in on being able to finish this out and get him to 7 stars. Again, we want to be able to take him in on assault battles and other things where we need 7-star characters. So here we'll just put in some rebels under a Mon Mothma team. Under her leadership, this is going to be real easy. So I actually target one of the Royal Guards first, and that's because if we start targeting Palpatine, the guard will taunt and get in the way. So it's actually easier, I've found, to just kill one of the guards first. So here we get an ability block on Palpatine, and then we take the taunt off the guard, finish off Palpatine, and then go back over here to the guard, finish him off. No problems at all getting that 6 star. So we'll go in there, we'll take the loot from the Journey event, get Palpatine his 6 star, and move on from there. So here we go. The game is loving to give me that offer. Every time I change screens, it's popping up with that offer. Ship-wise, we've got the Hyena bomber started here at 4 stars. Again, we're trying to build the malevolence first, so we might as well invest in this Hyena bomber and get it going. Take it up to level 80, put some of the initial skills on it, and when it gets to 5 stars, it'll already be good enough for us to use potentially as a reinforcement in fleet. Especially in Grand Arena, we have to divide up our good ships. So the more good ships we have for both offense and defense, the nicer that will be. And we can, potentially, if we're still putting the Geos on defense, we can use it on defense. Here we're going to apply this Ship Omega. This gives Geos 10% additional offense for each Geo that's present. It's a pretty big deal given all your guys 30% offense. We wanted that. We got it now. We're going to hold off. We've got some other Omega ship materials, but we really want to be careful and apply some of these 20 cost ones that are going to make a difference in the Geo team. So we're just going through now, sorting it out, trying to figure out if there's any other skills that we want, where we want to finally put this. And really, Sunfac needs some attention. He's lagging behind. Sunfac always builds slower than the other Geos. It's no problem. We expected that. Now we're going to go back and we're going to target Captain Rex, and we're going to get him the next gear tier. This was actually later that same day. I initially took the video, and Rex wasn't getting close. And then the next day, this is right before a Grand Arena lock-in, we're actually able to take him all the way to gear 12. Since he's our next relic target, and we only needed a couple gear pieces for him, I farmed those gear pieces up specifically so that we could get him to gear 12. So we did that before Grand Arena lock-in, and then locked down 2 of these pieces for gear 13. And as you can see, we need little bits and pieces all over the place for him. But yeah, we have some progress on all of his pieces. So not too bad. I think we should be able to relic him within the next 2 weeks. So week 11, my Galactic Power has gone up to 1.48 already. We added 90,000 Galactic Power. I can't believe how much Galactic Power we added in 1 week. The 4th Relic with 5s. The 5th Zeta is on. Remember, we had to put the Zeta on Vader's No Escape in order to do better in Conquest. In Squad Arena, we're still somewhere in the top 50. I've been top 20 a couple days. It's interesting, even with not that good of characters. In Fleet Arena, our Endurance with the Silencer 5s and Bigs is still getting top 5. The Geos haven't passed that fleet up yet for reliability, so we're continuing to use that. And we do have both Home 1 and the Endurance as options for the Geos, so we're messing around with that a little bit, but it's still not as good as just those starting 3 that I've been working on. And of course, with the Silencer and now 5s ship both at Relic level, that's actually pretty solid ships that we got going. For the project, we are going to target Rex for 2 weeks to get him reliced in week 13. The plan for next week, still doing a ton of those energy farms with the Hyena Bomber, Vulture Droid, BTLB Y-Wing, the Dark Trooper, Piet, Mon Mothma, and then Resistance Hero Finn. For Fleet, Anakin's ship, Shaak Ti. I find that I really can't farm Gideon every day if I want to work on my Gear 13 pieces at the right rate. So on hard node days, for example, I'll take Gideon, and maybe a couple times a week I'll farm his node. But I'm not doing that every day. It's on and off, so I've slowed down on Gideon and the Rebel Y-Wing. Again, because I don't need it right away. I still want to be working on it, but I've had to back off on that a little bit. I put Gideon. That's actually Grief Karga. Is Grief Karga out of fleet that I'm working on. I don't know why I put Gideon up there. So yeah, it's Grief Karga on the fleet nodes. In Cantina, we're working on the ARC Trooper next. We'll take the ARC Trooper all the way to 7 stars pretty soon. We do want to pay attention to Moff Gideon, and if we get if we get 5 troopers to 7 stars, then Moff Gideon is going to take a real priority for being one of those 5 troopers and get him going for the assault battles. So we'll see between him and ARC Trooper what the right balance is, but we'll need to get them both to 7 stars pretty quickly. Mods, we're working on speed and defense, and the refresh pattern is the same. I use 3 mod energy, 3 regular energy, and 3 fleet every day. And then for Cantina, I try to save up enough to get refreshes when the guild objective for the day is either spend all energy or spend Cantina energy. Unfortunately, the way things have been going, I haven't been able to save up enough to get 3 refreshes on each of those days. I'm only getting about 2 Cantina refreshes, maybe 4 refreshes a week. So the crystal income on this account is still pretty low because of how low I am in Grand Arena. So I don't get the crystal income to do a lot of those Cantina refreshes. And it's slowing me down, but we got to work through it. I mean, we're playing free to play, so we gotta play it that way. Next week's shop plan, we're still sometimes buying some Cassian's U-Wing shards, but mainly we're feeding the shard shop. The guild store, we're getting Carbantes. Working on Ewoks, trying to keep a bank there so that when we see, I think it's Logray and Paplu that you can buy out of there. So when we see them in the guild store, we want to be able to pick them up. Also, the First Order Special Forces TIE pilot's in there, and he might be an option for us to get in that BB-8, so we've bought a few of his shards. In the squad store, we're getting gear. Mostly we're just saving for Carbantes and feeding the shard shop. I out of squad arena, the gear at the bottom. So just, I misspoke there about the Carbantes. That's out of the guild store. So in the squad store, at the right-hand side all the way down to the bottom, there's a gear spot that has Mark 7 scanners. And the Mark 7 scanners are raid gear that you can only get from certain shops and from raids. And I found that buying them out of squad is pretty efficient. There also the Mark 6 syringes show up there, which are good to buy sometimes. And then right above it, there's always something in that slot right above it for a bronzium wiring or even the carbonite stuff for relics. So I've been buying a lot of that stuff, and I need to buy more prestige there. But for right now, we're really focusing on the gear that you get there and feeding the shard shop a little bit. In the Galactic War store, we're still looking for Sunfax ship. I am trying to build Ahsoka's ship out of there a little bit at a time. And then, of course, for any of the journey requirements that we can pick up out of that store. In fleet, we're still looking for Grievous all the time, Sunfax ship. Of course, with a good amount saved, then I can pick up the Razor Crest every time it shows up. I don't know when or if or how I'll build the Executor on this account, but I feel like that's one of the things that no matter what level you're at, you should pick up those Razor Crest shards and get enough eventually to get it to 7 stars, because I feel like everybody's going to want the Executor at some point in their journey. So I'm picking that up as well. No plans to work on it, focus on it yet. In the Guild Event store, we're buying Malevolent Shards with Get 2, and then the Get 1. We're buying a few bits of stuff for Gear 13, but mostly we're just going to save that. We do plan to get gas pretty early on, so we've got to save our Get 1 for gas. In the Shard shop, we're working on purples and Gear 13 golds right now only. That's the only thing we're buying out of the shop to help us with the relicking. So the GAC experience so far, with 10 weeks of work in the Grand Arena, it's easy to win against similar accounts. We're not having any problem rising up. The problem is we keep running into accounts that have twice as much GP or more than we do. And with those accounts, if they play, we lose. If they don't play, we win. It's pretty frustrating. And, taking one loss like that in every round, it seems like, you get one experience like that per round. And you get 42 points for a win and 43 points for a loss. So the climb through Carbonite has been slowed down greatly by the fact that we're getting these mismatches and the players choose to play, and then there's really nothing you can do. So I don't say that to complain about the matchmaking or blame CG or moan about it. I'm just saying that if you're a new player and you're watching these Obticeo videos and you've experienced something like that in Grand Arena, I just want you to know that you're not alone, that that's happening to everyone, and it does really limit the speed at which you can continue to increase your skill rating. So what's more important? If we want to try to get more wins against these bigger accounts, then the question is, what's more important? Should we have one big offensive team to just smash through whatever their best team is, or should we try to build one big defensive team where we can put it on defense and try to clog things up? So in order to help sort that out, I want you guys to think about Grand Arena as 2 lanes, right? You've got the top lane with a character zone and a fleet zone behind it. And then at the bottom, you got a character zone with another character zone behind it. You could think of each one of those as a lane where you got to get through the front to get through the back. On offense, you can pick top or bottom. So if you think that it's going to be a 2-zone battle, you can pick whether you're going to clear the top zone or the bottom zone, depending on where you think you have the better advantage. On the defensive side, if you have better fleets than they have, and you can put a fleet on defense that they can't beat, you can actually cut it down oftentimes to a 1-zone battle. You put in good defenses in front of fleets, and you put in even better defenses on the bottom front. Some opponents may pick that section in front of fleets, beat those 2 teams, not have anything that's good enough to beat the bottom, and then be stuck on ships as well. If you do that, a lot of times they'll get a 1 zone clear, and then if you clear their top zone plus fleets or their bottom zone and the back characters, you can win Grand Arena. But that takes a defensive team that's good enough to really hold that bottom zone. And if you're a new player and you want to build the very best defensive team for that bottom zone, build the Darth Revan. If you go into the Revans and you build Darth Revan first and then go into Jedi Knight Revan second, by the time you get Jedi Knight Revan built, you can easily have your Darth Revan team all gear 12 with some relics already starting up. Then you get Malak into the game, you put him on the Darth Revan team. And if you put a Darth Revan plus Malak team, you'll go for a long time in Grand Arena before your opponents are going to have a team that's good enough to beat that Darth Revan. It takes pretty much, at low levels, it takes a very specific team that's designed to build and built to beat Darth Revan, or it takes a Galactic Legend. Gas is the same way. Gas, once you build up the clones and build up General Skywalker, it's another one of those teams that takes a very good or specifically built team to beat it. Now, Gas is a long enough journey, and so is Malak. Either one of those will delay getting your first Galactic Legend potentially, as opposed to just stabilizing your account and going for a GL. But in the end, if you build one of those teams and you can block up the zones, you can continue to rise through Grand Arena. So that's pretty much what we're going to do with this account. I am going to go wide with the account and try to build 10 effective teams and get something that we can put on defense and things that we can use for offense. But we're going to build into Gas. And Gas also comes along with General Grievous. You have to build the Separatist droids in order to get Gas in the first place. So once we build that Grievous team and Gas, we'll have Gas for the bottom zone to block everything up. We'll have Grievous for the top zone to make their life really difficult. And I think a lot of opponents may not even get to win any zones. So that's the goal. We're going to build those 2 really good defensive teams and see how this can work out for us. Executor may have to come pretty quickly after Gas. It depends on fleet. If people in the fleet shard start building Executors, I am not willing to give away that fleet income. So I feel like the Executor journey has to come pretty quickly. So what I'll start doing, I'll build up the endurance to make sure that I can get into the Gas event. I'll build Geos and a lot of dark side ships there. So I will need to boost up the light side ships and make sure that every time the endurance event rolls around, I get those shards. The endurance event is up next week, and I only have 3 ships that I can take in. So I honestly don't know if I'm going to be able to beat that event with only 3 ships. I have 5s, bigs, and what's the third ship? We have 5 bigs and Ahsoka. So those are the only 3 ships we have that are viable at 6 stars for that event. So we really need to get another ship or 2 for reinforcements to lock that down. But I'm hoping we can complete it. If we can't, we'll be yet another cycle behind on the endurance for getting our Gas journey going, which is not a good sign. But in terms of how I'm going to prioritize this build, just to be clear, I am going to try to continue to build the roster wide at the same time as building the Gas journey. So we need to build Shaak Ti clones. We're going to use that as the Relic project. We're just going to Relic 1 clone after another. You get Shaak Ti to 7 stars, Relic her, finish out that team, and try to get them ready for the Tambor mission. The second priority for me is Imperial Troopers. I got to get them at least to the point where they can complete the assault battles to challenge Tier 1. That's very important for income for the account. Then we're going to work on the General Grievous droids and the Padme team, priority 3 and 4. Depends on how the shard collection goes, how we end up working on those. We still have to farm Anakin. He's been moved off the Cantina node, so we'll have to pick him up as a hard farm. Mon Mothma's probably the closest one to done, so when she's done, we'll pick up the Anakin farm and start getting him going for the Padme team. We're picking up Ewoks out of the shop. That'll probably really be the last piece that we do for that gas journey. And we'll get the Ewoks up to the point where we can get that C-3PO. Of course, C-3PO is required for that journey as well. So what you'll see me do, I'll put priority on the Relic projects and work on them and get them to the appropriate gear levels and relics. You'll see me investing a lot in the troopers and getting them up and running, and then working my way down through. But then with the money that's left over, every week I'll have some money and some gear left over, and then I'll go into those other teams, the First Order, the Resistance, the Bounty Hunters, going back, circling back around and putting more gear on the Palpatine for the Vader team, potentially building Mara Jade. So we'll continue to build and work on those other teams in the background, but only after we're done spending and gearing on those teams in that order of priority, right? Geos are done. They're ready for Watt. We relic the spy. We've got all the Geos at the right galactic power to beat the Watt mission. They're done. They're off the list. We move on to the clones, Imperial troopers, and work our way down from there. I am trying to pick up as much as I can on the Ewoks from the shops. I really don't want to have to farm Wicket. So at the end of the day, I'm going to try to do that mission with 5 Ewoks without Wicket. Means that I may have to put some more gear on some of those Ewoks than I want to, but I think I would rather do that. There's an advantage to farming Wicket because when the Endor escalation, I think that's what it's called, when that event comes up, if you have a 7-star Wicket, you can play the event for 2 Zeta materials every time it comes up. So there is an advantage to building Wicket, and Wicket is a good node, but I really do want to try to avoid it if I can and just get all the Ewoks out of the shops. So we'll see if that can be done. That's going to wrap up the summary for this week. That's what's going on with the account. If you got questions or comments, leave them down below. If there's things you want to know specifically about the account, questions that I can answer, I will be happy to put that in future videos. So leave your comments down below. Let me know what it is that you want to see, and I'll see what I can do to help. Remember to like if you haven't done that already. It helps me, it helps the channel. Subscribe to watch more videos like this in the future, and join us over on Discord. We've got a great community. New players can ask all kinds of questions and get help from experienced players. I hope to see you over there. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next Holocron.